The surgeon's hands were shaking when he pulled me into that supply closet. "Don't trust him," he whispered, pressing something into my palm. My daughter was fighting for her life 3 doors down. I looked down at what the doctor had given me, and my blood went cold. Because what I was holding revealed the unthinkable. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments section what time it is where you're watching this. I'd never been good with hospitals. The smell alone, that sterile cocktail of bleach and desperation, makes my skin crawl. But when the call came that Lily was in surgery, I broke every speed limit between Portland and St. Mary's Memorial. My hands were still shaking when I burst through the emergency entrance, nearly colliding with a nurse wheeling an empty gurney. "Lily Cole," I gasped. "She was brought in, car accident. Where is she?" The nurse pointed down a corridor that seemed to stretch into infinity. I ran. That's when I saw him. Dr. Nathan Graves stood half hidden in the doorway of a supply closet, his surgical scrubs spotted with what I prayed wasn't my daughter's blood. His eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that stopped me mid-stride. "Mr. Cole?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Is she's stable. The surgery's going well." He glanced over his shoulder, then back at me. "But we need to talk, not here." Before I could respond, he pulled a manila envelope from under his scrub top and pressed it into my hands. The paper was warm, slightly damp. "Don't open this where anyone can see you," he said, his grip tightening on my wrist. "And whatever you do, don't trust Ethan." The name hit me like a fist to the gut. Ethan, my son-in-law, the man who'd called 911. The man who'd been with Lily when her car went off Cascade Highway. "What the hell are you talking about?" But Dr. Graves was already moving, slipping back through the surgical wing doors like he'd never been there at all. I stood frozen in that hallway, the envelope trembling in my hands. Through the small window in the OR door, I could see figures in blue hovering over a table, over my Lily. My little girl who used to make me tea parties with invisible guests, who'd graduated summa cum laude from Oregon State, who'd married Ethan Prescott 2 years ago in a ceremony that cost me more than my first car. My phone buzzed again. A text from Ethan. "Where are you? I'm in the waiting room. I need to talk. Please." The fluorescent lights overhead flickered once, casting shadows that seemed to reach for me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The envelope felt like it was burning through my palms. I stumbled, toward the men's restroom at the end of the hall, locked myself in the furthest stall. My reflection in the metal toilet paper holder showed a man I barely recognized. Pale, wild-eyed, terrified. I tore open the envelope. 3 items fell into my lap. A USB drive, small and black. A handwritten note on hospital letterhead. "Play this alone. Trust no one." And a photograph. It took my brain 3 full seconds to process what I was seeing. Lily's silver Honda Civic, the undercarriage, and there, circled in red marker, the brake lines, severed clean through. Not frayed, not worn, cut. My phone buzzed again. Ethan. "Cole, please, I know you're here. I can explain everything." The stall walls seemed to close in around me. My daughter hadn't been in an accident. Someone had tried to kill her.
I sat in that bathroom stall, the photograph burning in my hands, and my mind dragged me back 2 years. The wedding had been perfect. Too perfect, maybe. Ethan Prescott had swept into Lily's life like something out of a romance novel. Stanford MBA, junior partner at Whitman & Associates, one of Seattle's top investment firms. The kind of guy who wore tailored suits on weekdays and helped at soup kitchens on Sundays. My late wife would have loved him. "Dad, he's incredible," Lily had gushed over dinner at Mama Rossi's, her favorite Italian spot in downtown Portland. "He listens to me, really listens. And he wants me to keep pursuing my photography. He even set up a studio space in his condo." I'd watched them that night, the way Ethan's hand rested on the small of her back, protective, attentive. Or was it possessive? The memory shifted. Their engagement party at Ethan's parents' lake house in Bellevue. Lily had worn a blue dress, her mother's favorite color. She'd been laughing with her college roommate, Sierra, when Ethan appeared at her side. "Babe, we should probably start saying goodbye. Early morning tomorrow, remember?" His smile never wavered, but something in his tone made Sierra's laughter die mid-breath. "Oh, right. The brunch with your colleagues." Lily's face had shifted, just for a second, from joy to something that looked like resignation. I'd written it off. Young couple, busy schedules, normal stuff. But then there was the phone. 6 months into their marriage, Lily and I were supposed to meet for coffee. She'd been 20 minutes late, flustered, apologizing. Ethan called. He couldn't find his blue tie, the Hermès one, and he had an important client meeting. She'd laughed, but it sounded hollow. "Can you believe that?" I'd laughed too. But now, sitting here with evidence of attempted murder, that memory took on a different shape. The tie wasn't the point. The point was control. Making sure he knew where she was, what she was doing, who she was with. How many other signs had I missed? The way Lily stopped posting on social media after they married. The way her photography business, the one she'd been so passionate about, quietly faded away. The way she'd canceled on family dinners, always with the same excuse. "Ethan's had a rough week. I should stay home." My hands clenched around the photograph. A nurse's voice echoed in the hallway outside. "Family of Lily Prescott?" I shoved the USB drive into my jacket pocket, folded the photo, and stood on legs that didn't quite feel like my own. Ethan was still in that waiting room, probably pacing, probably looking like the devastated husband. I couldn't confront him. Not yet. Not without knowing what was on that USB drive. Not without proof I could actually use. I needed answers. And I needed them before Ethan realized that Dr. Graves had given me the one thing that could destroy him: the truth. I couldn't go home. Couldn't risk Ethan showing up at my door, all concerned son-in-law, asking questions I wasn't ready to answer. So, I drove. 20 minutes outside Portland, I pulled into the Riverside Motel, the kind of place that doesn't ask for ID if you pay cash. The clerk barely looked up from his phone as he slid a key across the counter. Room 14. Ground floor. Perfect. The room smelled like old cigarettes and broken promises. I locked the door, drew the curtains, and sat on the edge of a bed that sagged in the middle. The USB drive felt impossibly heavy in my palm. My laptop took 3 tries to boot up. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I finally inserted the drive, a single file appeared. Evidence 92824.mp4. September 28th, 3 days ago. I clicked play. The footage was grainy, black and white, security camera quality. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m. The location appeared to be a parking garage, shadows stretching across concrete pillars. Then I saw it. Lily's silver Honda Civic parked in a corner spot. And there was Ethan, my son-in-law. Crouched beside the front driver's side wheel, a small toolkit spread beside him. Even through the poor video quality, his movements were methodical, deliberate. He worked for 7 minutes. I watched the timestamp tick forward, before sliding underneath the car completely. When he emerged, he was holding something. Wire cutters, maybe. He checked his phone, the screen illuminating his face for just a moment. He wasn't panicked, wasn't nervous. He looked focused, calm, like a man checking items off a grocery list. Ethan gathered his tools, glanced around the empty garage, and walked out of frame. The video ended. I sat there, staring at the frozen final frame, my blood turning to ice water. This wasn't circumstantial. This wasn't paranoia or misunderstanding. This was premeditated, attempted murder. A second file auto-played before I could stop it. Text document. Another note from Dr. Graves. Mr. Cole, I installed cameras in my building's garage after a break-in last month. I never thought I'd capture something like this. When your daughter came in tonight, I recognized her from the elevator. I recognized him. This footage is your insurance, but use it carefully. If you confront Ethan now, he'll lawyer up, destroy evidence, and disappear into the system. Men like him always do. You need more. You need a confession or a pattern. I've already risked my career giving you this. Don't let it be for nothing. Keep Lily safe. Trust your instincts. My phone exploded with vibration. Ethan's name flashed across the screen. I stared at it, every muscle in my body coiled tight. 4 rings. 5. It went to voicemail. Immediately, he called again. My finger hovered over the answer button. What would I even say? How could I talk to him without my voice betraying what I knew? The phone stopped ringing. A text came through. Cole, I'm getting worried. Hospital won't tell me anything since I'm not blood family. Are you with Lily? Is she okay? Please, I'm losing my mind here. Another text, seconds later. Where are you? And then, we need to talk, face to face. Tonight. My throat got dry. He wasn't asking. He was hunting.
I walked back into St. Mary's at 9:47 p.m., my face a mask I'd spent 20 minutes constructing in my truck's rearview mirror. The waiting room was nearly empty, just an elderly couple sleeping in corner chairs and a young mother bouncing a crying infant. And there, by the window overlooking the parking lot, stood Ethan. He looked devastated. Red-rimmed eyes, disheveled hair, his expensive Oxford shirt untucked on one side, like he'd been running his hands through his clothes in anguish. Academic award performance. Cole! He rushed toward me, arms outstretched. Thank God, I've been going insane. They won't tell me anything. Hospital policy, I'm not immediate family, and... He pulled me into a hug. Every fiber of my being screamed to shove him away, to wrap my hands around his throat and squeeze until he told me why. Why my daughter? What had she done to deserve a husband who wanted her dead? But I forced my arms to return the embrace, forced my voice to sound broken instead of homicidal. She's still in surgery. They said it's going to be a long night. Ethan stepped back, gripping my shoulders. His eyes searched my face with what looked like genuine concern. What did the doctor say? Was it the impact? Internal bleeding? I watched him carefully, looking for cracks in the performance. They didn't give me details, just that she's stable. I paused, measuring my next words. What happened, Ethan? How did she go off the road? Something flickered across his face, too quick to name. I don't know. I've been replaying it all day. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing toward the window. She said she was driving to Cannon Beach, wanted to photograph the sunset for that gallery submission. I told her to be careful. The roads up there can be tricky, but you know Lily. When she's got a creative vision... He trailed off, his voice catching. I wanted to vomit. You weren't with her? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. No. I had client meetings all afternoon. He turned back to me, and for just a second I saw him calculating. Why? Did someone say I was? No, just trying to piece it together. We stood there in silence, the fluorescent lights humming above us like a swarm of locusts. Cole, I need you to know something. Ethan's voice dropped lower. Lily is everything to me. Everything. If something happens to her... His jaw tightened. I don't know what I'd do. The threat was so subtle, so perfectly wrapped in the language of devotion, that anyone else would have missed it. I didn't. She's going to make it, I said flatly. She has to. Ethan nodded, pulling out his phone. I should update her friends. Sierra's been texting nonstop and... He stopped mid-sentence, his eyes locked on his screen. His thumbs moved fast, too fast for someone just updating friends. He angled the phone away from me, a tiny unconscious movement, and I caught the briefest glimpse of the contact name before he pocketed the device. Not Sierra, not his parents. A single letter, V. Sorry, he said, forcing a smile. Work emergency. Even now, they can't leave me alone. He was lying. And whoever V was, they needed to know something. Tonight. I excused myself under the pretense of needing coffee, leaving Ethan in the waiting room with his lies and his mysterious contact V. The surgical wing was quieter now, the chaos of evening emergencies settling into the steady rhythm of overnight care. I needed to find Dr. Graves, needed to know if there was more he hadn't told me. The nurse's station sat at the corridor's T intersection, bathed in the blue glow of computer monitors. A woman in scrubs looked up as I approached, mid-30s, dark hair pulled back in a neat bun, tired eyes that had seen too many long shifts. Her name tag read, Elena Vasquez, RN. Excuse me, I said, keeping my voice low. I'm looking for Dr. Graves, Nathan Graves. He was working on my daughter's case, Lily Prescott, and I had some questions about her condition. Her expression shifted. Something guarded slid behind her eyes. Dr. Graves left about an hour ago. His shift ended. Is there something I can help you with? It's important. Is there a way to reach him? She glanced past me, down the empty hallway, then back to her computer screen. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, but didn't type. Mr. Cole, right? I nodded. Dr. Graves mentioned you might come looking for him. He said you'd understand why. Elena stood, gesturing toward a small consultation room adjacent to the station. Let's talk privately. My pulse quickened as I followed her inside. She closed the door, checked the hallway through the small window, then turned to face me. Dr. Graves asked me to help you if you came back. He said you'd understand why. Elena crossed her arms, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. Your daughter's injuries tonight, they're consistent with a high-speed collision, but this isn't the first time she's been treated here. The room felt smaller suddenly. What do you mean? Elena pulled out her phone, scrolling through something before showing me the screen. Medical record notes, dates, and brief descriptions. March 15th, contusions on her upper arms and wrists. She said she fell during a hiking trip. July 2nd, fractured rib. Claimed she slipped on wet tile getting out of the shower. August 20th, defensive bruising on her forearms. Said she caught herself against a car door. My stomach turned over. Each time her husband was with her. Each time he was calm, attentive, concerned. Textbook supportive spouse. But Mr. Cole? She looked at me with an expression that held both pity and anger. I've been a trauma nurse for 12 years. I know what those patterns look like. Why didn't anyone report it? My voice came out harsher than I intended. We tried. Twice. Your daughter insisted everything was fine, said we were overreacting. Without her cooperation, there's nothing Child Protective Services or the police can do for an adult. Elena's jaw tightened. The system protects abusers when victims are too scared to speak up. She moved back to the door, checked the hallway again, then pulled a manila folder from under her scrubs. Dr. Graves made copies before he left. Lily's complete medical history from the past 18 months. He said, if anything happens to him, you need to have this. If anything happens, he was in danger if he spoke up? Men like Ethan Prescott have lawyers, money, and connections. Dr. Graves is risking his medical license giving you this, and I'm risking my job having this conversation. She opened the door, her professional mask sliding back into place. Your daughter is awake, by the way. Recovery room. She's been asking for someone. Ethan? Her expression went cold. No, Mr. Cole. She's been asking for you.
Lily was sedated. Stable, but they wouldn't let me see her yet. Something about keeping her calm, minimizing stress. The doctor said she'd be out until morning, which gave me exactly one window of opportunity. Ethan's house, their house, sat in West Hills, one of those pristine Portland neighborhoods where the lawns were always manicured and everyone pretended to know their neighbors. I'd been here dozens of times. Family dinners, birthday celebrations, all those moments when I'd convinced myself my daughter had found happiness. I parked 3 blocks away and walked. The spare key was still under the decorative rock by the Japanese maple. Lily had shown me once, laughing about how Ethan was paranoid about security but kept a key in the most obvious place imaginable. The irony wasn't lost on me now. The house was dark, silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator. I used my phone's flashlight, keeping the beam low as I moved through the kitchen into Ethan's home office. Everything was organized with surgical precision. Mahogany desk, leather chair, bookshelves lined with first editions and business strategy guides, the kind of room designed to impress clients. I started with the desk drawers. Bills, tax documents, investment portfolios. Nothing unusual until I reached the bottom drawer. A folder labeled Insurance, Active Policies. My hands trembled as I opened it. 3 life insurance policies, all on Lily. The first was through Ethan's company, standard spousal coverage, $500,000. The second was a private policy through Northwestern Mutual, $1.5 million. The third made my blood freeze. $2 million taken out 8 months ago through some company I'd never heard of, Apex Life Solutions. The beneficiary line was filled out in Ethan's precise handwriting. 3.5 million reasons for my daughter to die. I photographed every page with shaking hands, but it was the locked drawer on the right side that stopped me cold. I'd seen Ethan open it once, years ago, when he was looking for some paperwork. He'd used a small key from his personal key ring, a key that was probably with him right now at the hospital. I grabbed a letter opener from the desk organizer and wedged it into the lock mechanism. It took 3 tries, sweat dripping down my back before something clicked. The drawer slid open. Inside was another folder, this one unlabeled. I pulled it out, opened it, and the floor seemed to drop away from me. Photographs, newspaper clippings, death certificates. The woman in the pictures was beautiful, blonde, bright smile, probably late 20s. She stood next to a younger Ethan in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. Another photo showed them at what looked like a wedding reception. The newspaper clipping was from the San Francisco Chronicle, dated 4 years ago. Local woman dies in tragic boating accident. Vanessa Chen Prescott, 29, died Saturday when her sailboat was operating capsized in rough waters near Sausalito. Her husband, Ethan Prescott, was rescued by Coast Guard. Authorities ruled the death accidental. Vanessa. V. My mind raced back to the text message I'd seen Ethan sending in the hospital waiting room, the single-letter contact. But Vanessa was dead. Wasn't she? I flipped through more documents. Another life insurance payout, $1.8 million. An inheritance from Vanessa's parents, another $700,000. A death certificate signed by Dr. Philip Morrison in San Mateo County. Ethan hadn't just tried to kill Lily. He'd done this before, and he'd gotten away with it. I was photographing the last document when I heard it. The unmistakable sound of a key sliding into the front door lock. The deadbolt turned. My heart stopped. Ethan's voice echoed through the house. Casual, almost cheerful. "Cole, I know you're in here. I saw your truck parked down the street." Footsteps. Coming closer. "We really need to talk." I shoved the folder inside my jacket and killed my phone's flashlight. The office had a second exit, a sliding glass door leading to the backyard. I'd grilled salmon out there last summer, watching my grandkids splash in the pool. Now I was running from my life. I slid the door open as quietly as possible and slipped into the darkness. Behind me, I heard Ethan's footsteps entering the office. "Cole?" His voice was different now, harder. "I just want to talk, man to man." I didn't wait to hear more. I vaulted over the fence into the neighbor's yard, my 53-year-old knees screaming in protest. 2 more yards. Then I hit the street 3 blocks from where I'd parked. My truck roared to life, and I drove. But my mind wasn't on escape. It was on Maya and Jackson, Lily's kids, 6 and 4 years old. The babysitter, some college student named Becca, would have them at Ethan's parents' lake house in Oswego, where they'd been staying since the accident. If Ethan realized I knew the truth, those children became leverage, or worse. I couldn't let that happen. 25 minutes later, I pulled up to the Prescott family estate, a sprawling property overlooking the lake, the kind of old money that whispered instead of shouted. The lights were on in the guest house. I knocked, soft at first, then harder. Becca opened the door, confusion crossing her young face. She was maybe 19, wearing University of Portland sweats. "Mr. Cole, it's almost 11. "I know, I'm sorry. There's been a development with Lily. She's asking for the kids. The doctors think seeing them might help her recovery." Her eyes widened. "Oh my God, is she okay? Mr. Prescott said—" "She's stable, but it's urgent. I need to get them to the hospital now." She hesitated, glancing back toward the living room where I could hear the faint sound of a cartoon playing. "I should probably call Mr. Prescott first. He was really specific about not letting anyone take them without—" "Becca." I stepped closer, dropping my voice. "Lily is my daughter. Those are my grandchildren. Their mother is in a hospital bed asking for them,
and every second we waste is another second she's lying there alone. I watched her resolve crumble. Okay, yeah, of course. Let me get their things. 5 minutes later, Maya and Jackson were buckled into my truck, still in their pajamas, clutching stuffed animals, and looking confused, but not frightened. Maya, sharp as her mother, studied my face in the rearview mirror. "Papa, why do you look scared?" "I'm not scared, sweetheart. Just worried about your mom." "Is she going to be okay?" I met her eyes in the rearview. "I'm going to make sure of it." Jackson, thumb in his mouth, was already half asleep. I drove to a different motel this time, the Pine Valley Inn off Highway 26, the kind of place where nobody asks questions if you pay cash and keep quiet. Room 7, 2 beds. I locked the door, engaged the chain, and pushed a chair against the handle. My phone buzzed. Ethan. "Where are my children, Cole?" Not our children. Not Maya and Jackson. My children. Like property. Like assets he owned. I turned off my phone and pulled the curtains closed.
I woke to 17 missed calls. The motel room was still dark, Maya and Jackson sleeping soundly in the bed beside mine. My phone screen glowed 6:47 a.m. I'd gotten maybe 2 hours of sleep. The text messages started at 2:33 a.m. "Ethan, you've made a terrible mistake." "Ethan, taking my children without permission is kidnapping, Cole. I could have you arrested." "Ethan, but I'm willing to be reasonable. Bring them back. We'll talk this through like family." "Ethan, you're scaring them. You're confusing them. Is that what Lily would want?" Each message was calculated, calm, designed to sound like the rational party dealing with an unstable old man. Then, at 4:15 a.m., the tone shifted. "Ethan, Lily is awake now. I'm with her now. She wants to know why you disappeared, why you took her children in the middle of the night without telling anyone." My chest tightened. "Ethan, she's very upset, Cole. The doctors are worried about her stress levels. You need to bring Maya and Jackson back. Now." I stared at the phone, my mind racing. Lily was awake, which meant Ethan had access to her, which meant he was already in her ear, shaping the narrative, making me the villain. I powered on my phone long enough to call the hospital. "St. Mary's Memorial, how may I direct your call?" "Lily Prescott's room, please. This is her father." A pause. Keyboard clicks. "I'm sorry, sir. Mrs. Prescott has requested no calls except from her immediate family." "I am immediate family. I'm her father, Jason Cole." "I understand, but her husband has provided a specific list of approved contacts, and—" I hung up. He'd already locked me out. Maya stirred in the bed, rubbing her eyes. "Papa, where's Daddy?" "He's at the hospital with your mom, honey. We're going to see them soon." "Why didn't we sleep at home?" "Because your father tried to murder your mother. Because he's done this before. And if I let you go back, I don't know what he'll do next." "Just a little adventure," I said instead, forcing a smile. "How about we get some breakfast?" My phone buzzed again. Not Ethan this time. A voicemail notification from an unknown number, Portland area code. I stepped into the bathroom, closed the door, and played it. The voice was hushed, strained, barely above a whisper. "Mr. Cole, it's Nathan Graves. Don't try to call this number back. It's a burner. Listen carefully, because I can only say this once." Background noise, traffic sounds, maybe a parking garage. "Ethan knows I gave you the footage. I don't know how, but he knows. Someone from hospital administration called me at midnight asking about patient confidentiality breaches. They're launching an investigation." A pause. Heavy breathing. I'm going underground for a few days until this blows over. But there's something else you need to know. Vanessa Chen Prescott, Ethan's first wife, she's not dead. My blood turned to ice. The death was staged. I have a contact in San Mateo who worked the case. He's been suspicious for years but could never prove anything. Vanessa disappeared, and 3 weeks later a body was found. Dental records matched, but the remains were too decomposed for visual identification. Another pause. Car door slamming. If Vanessa is alive, she's the key to everything. Find her and you can stop him. But Cole, you're running out of time. Ethan's not just dangerous, he's meticulous. And if he thinks you're a threat... The message cut off. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Vanessa was alive, which meant Ethan had faked her death, which meant he was planning to do the same thing to Lily. The address came through at 9:15 a.m. A text from the burner number. Lloyd Center Mall, North Parking Structure, Level 4. Come alone. I left Maya and Jackson with the motel manager's wife, a grandmother herself who asked no questions when I handed her $200 cash and said I'd be back in an hour. The parking structure was mostly empty on a Tuesday morning. I found Dr. Graves leaning against a silver Subaru, wearing jeans and a baseball cap instead of scrubs. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "You came," he said, relief crossing his face. "You said Vanessa's alive. Explain." He glanced around the empty level, then pulled out a tablet from his backpack. "I need to show you something first. Something I should have told you from the beginning." He pulled up a photo. A young woman, maybe 25, with Graves' same dark eyes and sharp cheekbones. She was laughing, holding a diploma. My sister, Rachel Graves. She graduated from nursing school 8 years ago. His voice cracked. 3 months later, she was engaged to a charming investment banker she'd met at a hospital fundraiser in Sacramento. My stomach dropped. Ethan. He went by E.J. Prescott back then. More professional, he said. He swiped to another photo. Rachel with a younger Ethan, his arm around his waist. 6 months into their marriage, Rachel called me at 2 a.m. Said she'd found insurance policies in her name. Said Ethan had been acting strange, controlling. She was scared. What happened? I told her to leave him. I offered to fly down and help her pack. His jaw tightened. She said she would. Said she just needed a few days to figure out the logistics. He swiped again. A newspaper clipping. Nurse dies in house fire. Husband narrowly escapes. The fire marshal ruled it accidental. Faulty wiring in an old Victorian in Midtown Sacramento. Ethan was supposedly at a business conference in Los Angeles when it happened. Graves' hands shook. But I knew he'd done something. "Why didn't you go to the police?" "I did. They investigated for 3 weeks, found nothing. Ethan had alibis, documentation, witnesses. He collected $800,000 in life insurance and disappeared." Graves looked at me with haunted eyes. "Until I saw him walk into my hospital with Lily. I recognized him immediately." He pulled up more files on the tablet. Police reports, insurance claims, death certificates. After Rachel died, I started digging. Found 2 other women before her. Angela Reeves, drowned in a bathtub in Denver, ruled accidental. Christine Palmer, fell downstairs in her Boston brownstone, ruled accidental. Both were married to Ethan under slightly different names. Both had substantial life insurance policies.
4 women, 4 accidents, millions of dollars. And Vanessa? I asked. That's where it gets interesting. Graves pulled up a grainy surveillance photo of a blonde woman at what looked like an airport terminal. My contact in San Francisco sent this 2 months ago. Facial recognition match, Vanessa Chen at SeaTac Airport. She's in Seattle? She disappeared again after this was taken. But Cole, he grabbed my arm. If we can find her, if we can get her testimony, we can prove Ethan's pattern. We can put him away before he finishes what he started with Lily. How do we find her? Graves pulled out a burner phone and a flash drive. We set a trap. We make Ethan think Vanessa's about to expose him. And when he comes for her, we'll be waiting.
Getting into Lily's room required Elena's help. She created a diversion, a false alarm about medication dosage that pulled Ethan away for exactly 10 minutes. "That's all you get," she whispered. "Make it count." Lily looked small in the hospital bed, her face pale against white pillows. Monitors beeped steadily beside her. When she saw me, her expression shifted from relief to something harder. "Dad, where are my children?" "They're safe. They're with me." "Ethan's been trying to reach you for hours. He's terrified. He thinks you've—" She stopped, her eyes filling with tears. "He thinks you've lost it, that you're having some kind of breakdown." I pulled a chair close to her bed. "Lily, I need you to listen, really listen. Can you do that for me?" "Dad, I'm exhausted. I just want my kids back. I want to go home." "You can't go home." I kept my voice gentle but firm. "Not yet. Not until you see what I need to show you." I pulled out my phone, opening the photos I'd taken at the house. Started with the insurance policies. 3 life insurance policies, all in your name. $3.5 million. Ethan took the last one out 8 months ago. Lily stared at the screen, confusion crossing her face. "He never mentioned." "Because you weren't supposed to know." I swiped to the next image. This is Vanessa Chen Prescott, Ethan's first wife. She supposedly died in a boating accident 4 years ago. 1.8 million payout. "Dad, what are you—" Before her, there was Rachel Graves, Dr. Graves' sister, died in a house fire, 800,000. And before Rachel, 2 more women, all married to Ethan under different variations of his name, all dead in accidents, all with substantial insurance policies. Lily's hands gripped the bedsheets. "Stop! Just stop!" "I know this is hard. You're making him sound like some kind of serial killer." Her voice rose, pain and fear bleeding through. "Ethan loves me. He's been here every single day. He's devastated. And you're showing me conspiracy theories?" "Look at your arms, Lily." She froze. "The bruises from March, the fractured rib in July, the defensive wounds in August." I leaned closer. "When did you stop believing your own body?" Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I fell. I'm clumsy. You're one of the most graceful people I know. You used to dance. You never fell." "Dad, please." I pulled up the final photo, the one I'd been dreading showing her. Her silver Honda Civic, the undercarriage, the brake lines severed clean through. "This is your car, taken from security footage the night before your accident. That's not wear and tear. That's not a mechanical failure." She stared at the image, her breathing becoming shallow. "Someone cut your brakes. Someone wanted you to crash on that highway." I took her hand. "And 3 days before, security cameras caught Ethan in a parking garage with wire cutters." The monitor beside her bed started beeping faster. Her face crumbled. "No! No! No! I'm so sorry, sweetheart. He wouldn't. He loves me. We have children together. He wouldn't." But her voice broke on the last word, because somewhere deep down she'd already known. The door burst open. Ethan stood in the doorway, his face a mask of concern that didn't reach his eyes. "Cole, step away from my wife!"
Elena appeared behind him, her expression panicked. "I'm sorry, Mr. Cole." He pushed past. "It's okay, Elena." I stood, placing myself between Ethan and Lily's bed. "We were just having a conversation." "A conversation?" Ethan's voice was cold. "You mean poisoning my wife against me with your paranoid delusions?" "They're not delusions," Lily whispered. Ethan's attention snapped to her. His expression softened instantly, the concerned husband sliding back into place. "Babe, you're confused. The medication, the trauma. Your father's taking advantage of your vulnerable state." "Show him out," Lily said quietly. "Lily, I said show him out." Her voice cracked with emotion. "I need time to think. I can't look at you right now." For just a moment, Ethan's mask slipped. Something dark and dangerous flashed across his face. Then he composed himself, nodded stiffly, and left without another word. Elena locked the door behind him. Lily looked at me, tears streaming down her face. "What do we do now?" "Now," I said, pulling out Dr. Graves' burner phone number, "we make sure he never hurts you again."
Detective Sarah Huang from the Portland Police Bureau's Major Crimes Unit studied the evidence spread across the conference table. The USB footage, the insurance documents, the medical files, Rachel Graves' death certificate. "This is circumstantial," she said finally. "Good circumstantial, but no DA will prosecute without something concrete. We need him on record. We need a confession." Dr. Graves leaned forward. What if he thought Vanessa was about to expose him? What if he believed she was alive and ready to talk? Huang's eyes narrowed. "You want to use bait?" "I want to use the truth," Graves said. "Vanessa is alive. We just need Ethan to believe we've found her." Which is how I ended up back at the Pine Valley Inn 12 hours later, wired with a recording device and flanked by undercover officers in adjacent rooms. Lily had insisted on being part of it. Against doctor's orders, against my protests, she'd checked herself out of the hospital and now sat in the surveillance van 2 blocks away with Detective Huang. "If this goes wrong," I'd told her, "if he gets past me—" "She won't," she said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "And I need to hear it, Dad. I need to hear him say what he did." Maya and Jackson were safe with Elena at a secure location. Ethan didn't know that. As far as he knew, they were still in room 7 with me. The text I'd sent him at 8 p.m. was simple. "We need to talk about Vanessa. Come alone, or I go to the police with everything." He'd responded within 30 seconds. "Tonight, 10 p.m. I'll be there." Now it was 9:47 p.m. I sat on the edge of the motel bed, every muscle coiled tight, listening to Detective Huang's voice through the nearly invisible earpiece. He just pulled into the parking lot, black Mercedes. Remember, let him talk. Don't accuse, just present the information and give him room to respond. 3 sharp knocks on the door. I opened it. Ethan stood there, still wearing his hospital visitor clothes, khakis and a pressed button-down. But something had shifted in his face. The mask of the concerned husband had cracked, revealing something colder underneath. "Cole." He stepped inside without being invited. "Where are my children?" "They're safe." "That's not what I asked." His eyes scanned the room. "You've had them for almost 2 days. Lily's beside herself. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I know exactly what I've done. I've kept them away from you." His jaw tightened. "You're having some kind of episode. Grief, stress. I understand. Lily understands. We're willing to forgive this if you just—" "I've found Vanessa." The room went silent. Ethan's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Calculation. Assessment. "You don't know what I'm talking about." "Your first wife, the one who supposedly drowned off Sausalito 4 years ago? Except she didn't drown, did she? She ran. And now she's ready to talk." "That's insane." But his voice had lost its steadiness. "Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you've got a pattern. 4 women, 4 accidents, millions in insurance payouts." I stepped closer. "How long did you wait before cutting Lily's brake lines? How long did you practice looking devastated?" "You have no idea what you're dealing with." His voice dropped to something dangerous. "You think you can threaten me, accuse me? I've built my entire life on being smarter than people like you." "People like me?" Weak, sentimental, predictable. His lips curved to something that wasn't quite a smile. Lily was supposed to die on that highway. Quick, clean, tragic. But she survived, and now you've complicated everything. The words hung in the air like poison. "You're admitting it," I breathed. Ethan's eyes went wide as he realized what he'd said. The door burst open. "Portland Police, hands where we can see them."
The Multnomah County Courthouse felt like a cathedral of judgment. 6 months had passed since that night at the motel. 6 months of depositions, evidence processing, and watching Lily rebuild herself piece by piece. Now, we sat in courtroom 4B, waiting for justice. District Attorney Marcus Chen stood before the jury, his voice steady and clear. "Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear isn't just about one attempted murder. It's about a predator who turned marriage into a business model." I was the first to testify. "Mr. Cole, can you describe what you found in the defendant's home office?" I looked directly at the jury. 12 faces watching me, 12 strangers who held my daughter's future in their hands. 3 life insurance policies on my daughter, totaling $3.5 million, hidden in a locked drawer alongside evidence of his previous wife, a woman he told everyone was dead. The defense attorney, a sharp-dressed man named Gregory Walsh, tried to dismantle my testimony during cross-examination. "Isn't it true, Mr. Cole, that you broke into your son-in-law's home without permission?" "I used a key my daughter had given me." "And isn't it true you kidnapped his children?" "I protected my grandchildren from a man who was planning to murder their mother." Walsh smiled like he'd scored a point. "Planning? Or so you assumed based on circumstantial evidence? The brake lines on my daughter's car were severed. That's not circumstantial, that's attempted murder." The jury leaned forward. Dr. Graves testified next, his voice breaking as he described finding Rachel's body in the aftermath of that Sacramento fire. He presented the pattern: 4 women, 4 staged accidents, millions in fraudulent insurance claims. "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" Walsh demanded. "Because I had no proof. Not until Ethan Prescott walked into my hospital with another wife, another victim, another insurance policy." Graves looked directly at Ethan. I wasn't going to let him get away with it again. But it was Lily's testimony that changed everything. She walked to the stand wearing a simple blue dress, her hands trembling but her voice strong. The courtroom fell silent. "Mrs. Prescott, can you describe your marriage to the defendant?" Lily took a breath. "At first, it was perfect. He was attentive, romantic, generous. But slowly, things changed. He needed to know where I was every moment, who I talked to, what I spent money on. My friends started disappearing from my life. My photography business, something I loved, just faded away because he said it stressed me out." "Did he ever hurt you physically?" "Yes." The word came out like a confession. "But he was clever about it.
a grip that left bruises under my sleeves, a shove that looked like I'd stumbled, and every time he'd apologize, bring flowers, tell me he was stressed about work. Her voice cracked. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. And the car accident. I remember driving on Cascade Highway, pumping the brakes as I approached a curve. Nothing happened. The pedal went straight to the floor. Tears streamed down her face. I knew in that moment I was going to die, and all I could think was, who's going to protect my children? Walsh tried to shake her testimony, suggesting she was confused, traumatized, influenced by her father. That's when Ethan snapped. He shot up from his chair, his face twisted with rage. She's lying. She's making me out to be some kind of monster when I did was love her. Mr. Prescott, sit down, the judge ordered. I gave her everything, a home, security, a lifestyle she could never have afforded. Bailiff, and this is how she repays me? By listening to her paranoid father and some doctor with a grudge? The bailiff moved toward him, but Ethan wasn't finished. You were nothing before me, Lily. Nothing. The courtroom erupted. The judge's gavel slammed down repeatedly, but the damage was done. The jury had seen the real Ethan Prescott. 3 hours later, they returned. Guilty on all counts.
Spring came to Portland like a second chance. I stood on the back porch of my house, the one I'd raised Lily in, the one filled with memories of her mother, watching Maya and Jackson chase each other through the garden. Their laughter echoed across the yard, pure and unfiltered, the sound of childhood reclaimed. Lily sat beside me in the patio chair, her hands wrapped around a mug of coffee. She looked different now, lighter. The shadows that had lived in her eyes for so long were finally fading. I've been thinking about that night, she said quietly. The night you came into my hospital room with all that evidence. You don't have to. I need to say this, Dad. Part of me hated you in that moment. Because believing you meant accepting I'd been blind, that I'd put my children in danger, that I'd loved someone capable of... She trailed off, watching Maya push Jackson on the old tire swing. But you saved us, even when I didn't want to be saved. I reached over and squeezed her hand. You saved yourself, Lily. You chose to see the truth. That took more courage than anything I did. We saved each other, she said softly. Dr. Graves had called last week with news. Vanessa Chen had finally come forward, testifying in a federal investigation that uncovered 2 more victims across 3 states. Ethan's sentence had been extended to life without parole. The nightmare was truly over. I keep thinking about the envelope, I admitted. That moment in the bathroom stall when I first opened it. I was terrified. Part of me wanted to pretend I'd never seen it, burn the evidence and go back to believing my son-in-law was just a good guy having a bad day. Lily looked at me, understanding in her eyes. But if I had burned it, if I'd chosen comfort over truth, my voice caught. You'd be dead, Lily. Maya and Jackson would be growing up with a father who murdered their mother. And Ethan would still be out there, hunting for his next victim. You chose to see, Lily said, even when it hurt. So did you. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the children play. Maya was teaching Jackson how to do a cartwheel, both of them tumbling into the grass with giggles. I'm going back to photography, Lily announced suddenly. That gallery downtown, the one on Pearl Street, they want to feature my work next month. A series about resilience and rebirth. Pride swelled in my chest. Your mother would be so proud. I think she'd be proud of both of us, Dad. Lily smiled, and for the first time in months, it reached her eyes. We didn't let him destroy us, Dad. We became stronger. Jackson ran up to the porch, breathless and beaming. Papa, watch me do a flip. I'm watching, buddy. Show me what you got. As he ran back to the yard, Lily leaned her head on my shoulder. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on me, for seeing what I couldn't see.
That's what family does, I said simply. We protect each other, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. The sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light across the garden. We'd survived. We'd fought back. And now, finally, we were free.
So here's my question for you. Was I right to handle it this way? Tell me in the comments below. What would you have done in my position? If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button, subscribe for more real-life tales, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Because trust me, there's so much more on my channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next life story.